That night, Nwakaego went alone to Ikenna's hut. The moonlight bled pale across the thatch. Inside, the air felt wrong, colder than a grave. "Ikenna," she called softly. He was sitting by the hearth, staring at an unlit fire. "You shouldn't be here," he said without turning. "Who are you?" He chuckled. A dry, ancient sound. "I am what he promised to the forest. When he killed the Black Panther, he broke the pact of blood. I am the debt." Nwakaego's hands shook. "Then why return?" He turned at last, and she saw tears in those unblinking eyes. "Because Ikenna begged. He begged for one more sunrise with his mother. So the forest let me wear his skin. But only until the sun rises thrice. And after that, the forest will reclaim what's owed." The story unfolds. They said no man ever returned from the evil forest. But one morning, one did. They called him Ikenna, son of Ngozi, the brave hunter whose name once made beasts tremble. But courage can be both a shield and a curse. In the season of heavy rains, when thunder hid behind clouds and lightning danced over the hills, a black panther began haunting the farmlands of Ohazala village. It was no ordinary beast. Its eyes glowed like burning coal, and its tracks never filled with water even after storms. One morning, after the panther tore apart a farmer's son, Ikenna swore by the ancestors, "I will hunt it down, even if it hides in the evil forest." No one entered the evil forest, the land of spirits and banished souls. Those who entered never returned. But Ikenna, stubborn and fearless, loaded his bow, kissed his mother's forehead, and walked into the fog. That was the last time anyone saw him. Days turned to weeks, weeks to moons. Years passed. His mother, Ngozi, refused to believe he was gone. Every dawn, she sat by the forest's edge, pouring palm wine into the soil, whispering, "Ikenna, my son, the path home still remembers your feet." Children grew up calling her the Mad Widow. But she never stopped waiting. Then one morning, the 10th year after his disappearance, the forest sighed. It began with a sound, a rustling that wasn't wind. Then came footsteps. The villagers froze as a figure emerged from the mist. Barefoot, bare-chested, eyes wide. It was Ikenna. He looked exactly as he had 10 years ago, not aged, not scarred, not weary. His muscles gleamed as though freshly oiled by the gods. Only his eyes were wrong, cold, wide, and unblinking, like something ancient peered through them. His mother dropped her calabash and ran to him, crying, "My son! My son!" He held her stiffly, as though unsure how to be human. Then, with a hollow smile, he said, "Mother, I have come home." But when she looked into his eyes, her joy faltered. Those were not the eyes of her child. He hadn't aged a day. Yet his mother swore, those were not her son's eyes. That evening, the king Afia ordered drums to sound across Ohazala. "A son lost to the forest has returned. Let the spirits know our joy." Men danced, women sang, and palm wine flowed like rivers. But not everyone celebrated. In a corner of the square sat Nwakaego, the old diviner. Her white eyes glimmered like moonlit shells. When she looked upon Ikenna, her voice trembled. "That is not the Ikenna we knew." The king frowned. "Are you saying a spirit stands before us?" "Not yet," she murmured. "But something else stands inside him." Her words were ignored. The drums grew louder, until one of the drummers collapsed mid-beat, clutching his chest. His skin turned ashen. The music stopped. Ikenna was standing close by, watching. Then, he smiled again. That night, Ohazala could not sleep. Strange things began to happen. The wind carried whispers that sounded like Ikenna's voice, calling names softly, the names of those who once mocked his mother. Cows broke free of their ropes and ran into the forest. The village dogs howled at nothing until their throats bled. When the morning came, Obinna, a young man who had often teased Ngozi, was found dead, his face twisted in terror, his eyes open wide like Ikenna's. The villagers trembled. When he touched Obinna, death came without a wound. King Afia summoned Nwakaego to the palace. The air smelled of fear and burning herbs. "Speak," said the king. "Who, or what, walks among us?" Nwakaego threw cowrie shells onto a goatskin mat. They clattered like bones. Her eyes rolled white as she whispered an incantation. The shells formed a circle, and at its center lay a black one, cracked in half. "The forest took his body," she said, "but not his soul. Now it wears him like a garment." The king leaned forward. "Why return him to us? To finish what death began. The forest remembers those who betrayed it." The chiefs exchanged nervous glances. Chief MBA spoke in a whisper. "We built our farmlands deep into its roots. We burned sacred trees." Nwakaego nodded. "And the forest has sent its messenger." That night, Nwakaego went alone to Ikenna's hut. The moonlight bled pale across the thatch. Inside, the air felt wrong, colder than a grave. "Ikenna," she called softly. He was sitting by the hearth, staring at an unlit fire. "You shouldn't be here," he said without turning. "Who are you?" He chuckled. A dry, ancient sound. "I am what he promised to the forest. When he killed the Black Panther, he broke the pact of blood. I am the debt." Nwakaego's hands shook. "Then why return?" He turned at last, and she saw tears in those unblinking eyes. "Because Ikenna begged. He begged for one more sunrise with his mother. So the forest let me wear his skin. But only until the sun rises thrice. And after that, the forest will reclaim what's owed." The next morning, Ngozi went to Nwakaego's shrine, trembling. "Tell me what to do. If that is not my son, why does he still call me mother?" "Because the forest remembers your love," said Nwakaego. "And love, even in the spirit world, can delay judgment, but not erase it." She gave Ngozi a charm made from kola nut and cowrie shells. "When the third sunrise comes, go to the river at dawn. If he follows, do not look back. Whatever you hear, whatever he says, do not turn." The first sunrise passed peacefully. The second brought thunder that rolled without clouds. Then came the third. At dawn, Ngozi walked to the riverbank. Mist floated on the water like white spirits. Behind her, she heard footsteps. "Mother," said a voice. "Wait for me." She gripped the charm tightly but kept walking. The voice grew louder, desperate, almost breaking. "Mother, please, don't leave me again." Tears streamed down her face, but she remembered Nwakaego's warning. She did not turn. The air grew heavy. The ground trembled. Then came a scream, half human, half beast. The mist burst upward. And when Ngozi finally turned, there was no one there. Only Ikenna's hunting bow, floating on the river's surface, before sinking quietly below. That evening, the forest fell silent for the first time in generations. No crickets, no owls, no whisper of wind. At the edge of the forest, the villagers found strange markings carved into the trees, spirals like eyes, all facing the village. The next moon, crops began to fail. Rivers turned muddy. And at night, some swore they saw a figure standing in the mist, holding a bough of shadows. When they asked Nwakaego what it meant, she only said, "The forest keeps its debts. But sometimes, it also keeps its memories." Years later, travelers from a distant village arrived at Ohazala. They told of a hunter who walked through their lands, tall, young, eyes unblinking, helping farmers, protecting children from beasts, never speaking, never aging. One of the travelers said he wore a necklace of cowrie shells, and when they asked his name, he whispered only one word, "Ngozi."